Well, what is up? Another Monday in the books. Nearly. And move this. Pretty good one at that. As I'm still acclimating to a full season. I honestly don't have a lot of mental health specific, I have cards in my hand, mental health specific things on my mind today. I've had some interesting mental health related conversations. But I do think the more I press into other parts of life, the more, and hear me out with this, the more I start to wonder how much mental health is like, I want to be careful with my words on this. It's one of those arts and topics that's both important and not as special as we think. So it's my specialty professionally, but so many areas of life are mental health, right? It's like a plumber plumbs. They have a very specific thing they work on to improve people's lives. Mental health is very, like, we have data and we have information on it, but I've told people before, as I look over at my instruments here, that music is one of the best tools for my mental health, playing music specifically. And people have a lot of different things that work for them, and we have a lot of data on things that we can do for our mental health, but it is just it's an interesting topic because there's so much that goes into it, and it's not as simple as just here's the black and white thing. And even a creative arts field is still really focused in on like creativity and some sort of medium-based outcome. And yeah, mental health is really a self-report experience and a do we consider it normal-based thing. So like we consider if you are outside the norm, you're outside the norm, right? So if you like if everyone does something, then it's considered normal. And you think about like the average person, for instance, doesn't like when someone takes their nails and like scratches you, right? That's normal. But some people, when they're like scratching them, like that's like actually a comfortable thing, like actually like a scratchy feeling. And so for them, like, well, this is just comfortable for me, and they shouldn't be made to feel different that way. And I know it's not the best example. You think like a back scratch or back massage, like some people like scratchy, some people just like pressure. But the average person doesn't want to be scratched. But some people like that. I feel like the example's stupid, to be honest. I'm very tired. Hopefully it's coming across, though, what I mean. Mental health, though, what I'm trying to get at here is there's an experiential component. Or if you're comfortable in your own skin, then a social level of social awkwardness or a level of not fitting in, or a level of not saying the thing you're supposed to say will ultimately make sense because for you, life goes well with it. And mental health diagnosis, one of the biggest criteria in the DSM for diagnosing mental health disorders is that the disorder causes significant am I tired? Clinically significant distress in the person with the disorder. And so what if you're not distressed by it? Like someone who has ADHD but doesn't feel like their life's impaired by it, do they still have ADHD? Now, I personally think that personal distress is not necessarily the best marker for diagnosis, but it is kind of relevant. I think people have a diagnosis whether it distresses them or not, but in some ways doesn't matter. Like if I have ADHD or not is not really what matters. What matters is the experience I'm having with life, and if it's fine, then there's nothing to change, really. Especially if it's fine by me and doesn't really bother other people. particularly my day-to-day interactions or people I enjoy, right? And that would be true of any diagnosis. And so I think that's a very relevant question. It's like, mental health, a lot of it is just perception of experience. And what's interesting is we do value how other people experience you. So a sociopath or someone with an extreme personality disorder or someone who finds a lot of satisfaction harming other people, we tell them no. So what's interesting is health is not in isolation. Health is community-based, because almost everyone agrees that if it's causing problems to the community, it's not good. And community can be framed in a lot of different ways. But I think it's a relevant question. It's this subjective sense of self and community impact. And I think that's actually a really relevant and important part, but it's also a part that makes things hard because we can be in communities that are not themselves healthy. And so if they don't like us for who we are, that doesn't mean we're wrong, does it? So, but also how we impact people matters. It's a longer topic and one that I don't want to get into after 3 days of being at a retreat that I was helping with. So I need more sleep and more recovery, but conversation's always fun. So I feel like that was slightly, I had the ideas of thoughts in my head, but it was a little bit scattered with where my brain's at. So thanks for joining as always, and see you next Monday.